Right, so let's move our body, stretch it, strengthen it. We're going to be down on the floor, so lie down on your back. We don't really need any props today, but remember, if you do need a folded up towel for under your head, then use that. And let's just lie down for a moment. Check in with the body. First of all, we'll check in our posture as always. So we want to have the feet shoulder distance. Remember, about a fist distance between the legs. Keep your heels on the floor and just lift your toes up off the floor. Spread out your toes. Place them all flat down on the floor. Remember, we want that solid foundation. We want to make sure the big toes are pressed down, little toes, and the backs of the heels. And that line from the feet goes up through the fronts of the knees, fronts of the hips, fronts of the shoulders. Let the chin nod down towards the chest. And let's just take a couple of breaths in through the nose. And then just letting that breath out. Connect to your body. Notice the points of contact to the floor, the feet, the pelvis, the back, the arms, the back of the head. And again, take another breath. Now this time as you let the breath out, we're activating the core. We're going to straight into it. So as you breathe out, draw your belly button in. Just visualize that muscle wrapping around your spine as you draw the navel in. And see if you can let the core muscles just press the lower back towards the floor. That's all you're doing. Trying to press the lower back and notice the pelvis curls a little bit. And then we're just going to release it, switch off those muscles. So gradually we're going to increase the movement. Take another breath. On your out breath, tighten that belt. Feel the lower back pressing to the floor. Now feel the pelvis curling. Activate your glutes, your bottom muscles. See if the lower back can press even more with that pelvis curled. And then release the pelvis. Return it back to that neutral position. So a little bit higher the next time. Take another breath. Same thing, breathe out, tighten that belt. Use your core to imprint the lower back, then use your pelvis to imprint the lower back even more. And this time you're going to curl the pelvis away from the floor. Remember, pubic bone is higher than your fronts of your hips. Then you're going to slowly lower down. And as you lower down, keep curling that pelvis until the last second. Once the bottom's on the floor, pelvis back to neutral, and then you take another breath. As you breathe out, same thing. Tighten the belt first. Imprint the lower back second. Curling the pelvis. Peeling. Now the bottom of the back and maybe the back of the rib cage comes off the floor. Again, your pubic bone is still higher than the fronts of your hips. Then you're going to lower down. Keep curling that pelvis. Getting into the lower back. And then return it back to neutral. Take a breath. We've got 2 more to go for now. So as you breathe out, tighten that belt, imprint the lower back, curl your pelvis, feel each section of your spine peeling away from the floor. Hold it there at the top and then let each section lower down. There might be lifting and lowering in chunks for now, but hopefully as we mobilize the spine through the class, you'll get more segmental control. One more time, take a breath. As you breathe out, tighten that belt, imprint the lower back, curl your pelvis, peeling up. Now remember, keep that weight across the top of the back, keep that weight equal on each arm. Then you're going to curl your pelvis as you lower all the way down. And we're going to return the pelvis to neutral. Now you're going to slide your right leg along the floor slowly. As it slides out, we want to open the hip, but we don't want to increase that arch in the lower back. Then we're going to slide the right leg back in. So now we're working on stability in the pelvis. Now we're going to slide the left leg out along the floor. And then we're going to slide it back in. And again, one more. So you slide that right leg out along the floor. Then you're going to slide your right leg back in. And now your left leg, as you lengthen and you stretch it, you open that front of the hip, it comes back in. Keep the feet apart. Now let your legs roll over to the right side. Keeping the shoulders flat on the floor. Bring your legs to the center. So keeping them apart for these hip rolls. Over to the left. Keep both shoulders super glued to the floor. Then you're going to bring it back. And again, we're going over towards that right side. As we start to add rotation in the spine. Over towards the left side. And then we're going to bring it to the center. Pause for a moment, check your position. We're going back into shoulder bridge. So breath in. First thing, breathe out, tighten the belt. See if you can imprint the lower back. Curl your pelvis. Peeling that spine up. Hold it there at the top, and then you're going to lower it down. The top of the back, curling that pelvis, the middle of the back, the lower back, and then the pelvis last. Now we're going to focus on our arms. Lift your right arm, turn your palm in. Now just take it as far back as you can without the back arching and without this rib cage flaring. Then your right arm lifts, you're going to turn the palm and it lowers down the side of your body. Same with your left. As it lifts, you turn the palm in, stretching it above the head, but using your core muscles to help keep the rib cage down. The arm lifts up, letting that left arm lower. And again, right arm, turn the palm. So now we're mobilizing the shoulder joints. Then your arm lifts, it lowers down. Now your left arm lifts, turn the palm and it stretches above the head. Then your arm lifts and it lowers. Keep the legs apart but let them roll to the right side like you did before. And then bring it back to the center, keeping those shoulders on the floor. So you go to the left and then you're going to bring it back. We've got that one more each side, legs to the right and then back to the center. Rolling your legs to the left side. Come back, have that quick check of your position. We go back into shoulder bridge, so breath in. As you breathe out, we're tightening the belt, imprinting the lower back, curling that pelvis, peeling up into your shoulder bridge. Pause for a second, then we're trying to lower the top of the back of the rib cage, and the lower back, and the pelvis last of all. Pelvis stays still, your right leg's going to slide along the floor like you did before. Then you're going to bring the right leg back. Now your left leg lengthens, it slides along the floor. Then you're going to bring it back. Keep the feet shoulder distance, let your legs roll to the right side. Bring the legs to the center, let the legs roll to the left. Bring it back, now right arm. So as you come back, now your right arm lifts. It stretches above the head. It lifts up, let the arm lower. Now your left arm lifts, turn the palm as you lengthen it out. Lift the arm up, let it lower, legs to the right side again. And then we're going to bring it back to the center. And then we're going over to the left. We're going to bring it back. We've got one more round from the beginning. So take a breath. As you breathe out, see if you can tighten that belt even more. Imprint, tilt. And we're peeling up into shoulder bridge. Holding it there and letting the spine lower. Curling that pubic bone up. See if you've got more movement in the spine. And it lowers down. Right leg and left arm this time. Sliding out along the floor. Bring the arm and leg back in. We're keeping the torso still. Now your other side. Left leg, right arm. Then you're going to bring them back. Keep the feet shoulder distance as your legs roll to that right side. Then you're going to bring it back to the center. Now your legs roll to the left side. Bring it back. Get ready for your right leg, left arm again. Slides out along the floor. Then you're going to bring that arm and leg back in. Now your left leg and your right arm stretches out. And then you're going to bring it back in. And now your legs are rolling to that right side again. And then back to the center. The legs are rolling over to the left. And you're going to bring it back. Now I want you to lift your right arm. Place your right hand behind your head. Place your left hand on the front of your rib cage. Now make sure you can see the right elbow out the corner of the eye. We're going to curl our upper body, but we're not going to pull on the head. We're going to use the action of the rib cage pressing towards the floor under your hands to curl up slowly. And as we curl up, the eye line we want to have is just across the tops of the knees. And then we're going to lower all the way down. So you've got a little bit of a gap between the chin and chest throughout the whole movement. That gap doesn't change. Let's do that again. Rib cage sinks down. We're curling up. We're seeing if we can press the lower back towards the floor. Can you pull that belly button in? And then with control, you're going to lower back down. We're going to do two more. Rib cage sinks down. You're curling up. You're seeing if you can pull that belly button in. Can you press the lower back down towards the floor anymore? And then you're going to lower back down. We've got this one more time. So rib cage down. We're going to curl up, pressing the lower back. Now stay there. Look towards the legs. Take the left hand. Have both of your hands behind your head. Slowly let the upper body lower. Now keep the hands behind the head and keep the head and hands on the floor. We want to make sure we can see the elbows out the corner of the eyes. We're going to go into our shoulder bridge. Take a breath. Breathe out. Press the lower back. Curl your pelvis. Now you're not going to be peeling up quite as high as you did the last time. You're going to hold it there. Then you're going to let your spine lower down. Now once the bottom's down, think of the rib cage sinking down. So the top part of the spine, the neck and the upper back curls up so that you're looking forwards. And then you're going to slowly lower the head back down. As soon as the head goes down, press the lower back, tilt, peeling up, holding it there. Take a breath. As you breathe out, curl the pelvis, lower the spine. Now once your bottom's on the floor, back of the rib cage sinks down into the mat, curl up so that you're looking forwards, and then slowly lower back down. 2 more. So once the head is on the floor, start to imprint the lower back, start to squeeze the bottom, start to peel up, hold it there, take a breath. As you breathe out, you're going to let your spine lower, keep curling the pelvis. Once the bottom's down, the back of the rib cage presses to the floor to curl up so that you look towards the legs, and then you're going to lower. We're going to do this one more time. So once your head's down, imprint that lower back, tilt your pelvis, peeling up, holding it there. Then you're going to lower your spine down, keep curling that pelvis. Once your bottom's down, rib cage sinks, curl up, but you're going to hold it here, belly button in. This time, let's bring the right leg to tabletop. Can you press the lower back down anymore? Bring the left leg, super glue those legs together, squeeze them, lift the arms up to the ceiling, and just let your head lower. As your head lowers, think chin to the chest. We want the back of the neck long. Legs squeeze together. We're going to lift our shoulder blades up, and then we're going to let them lower down onto the floor. Let's go again. So think of your scapula, the shoulders wrapping around the rib cage and lifting. But just as important as you let the shoulder blades connect back down onto the floor. 2 more, the shoulders lift. Then they're going to lower. 1 more, the shoulders lift. Then you're going to let them lower. Keep them connected to the floor. Open the arms, but leave your arms a couple of inches off the floor. Make sure they're below shoulder height, and see if you can lengthen your arms to the sides of the room any more before you place them flat down on the floor. Chin nods to the chest. Now we're going to roll our legs to the right. Now remember, we want to keep the legs squeezed together. We're going to rotate and turn the head to the left, but then we're going to stay there. Glue your legs together, lengthen your left arm and really focus on your left shoulder blade, glued down towards the floor. Then you're going to bring your legs slowly with control back, and your head comes back. And then let's go the other way. So slow control, one of the Pilates principles. Squeeze your legs together, look to your right side. Now press that right shoulder blade down into the floor. And then we're bringing it back to the center. We're going to do 4 more here. So now we're strengthening those muscles at the side, around the side of the body. We're getting this rotation in the spine, which is a brilliant spinal movement to do. Bring it back. Might not feel brilliant as you're doing it, but it's good for you. Over to the left with the legs, head to the right. Push your right shoulder blade down. Keep your legs squeezed together. Bring it back to the center. We're going to do 1 more. Over to the right with the legs. Head goes to the left. We're pressing that left shoulder blade down. Then we're going to bring it back to the center. We're going to do that 1 more time as our legs go to the left and the head goes to the right. And then we're going to bring it back to the center. Good. Now as you come to the center, lift your arms up, separate the legs, let your right foot lower down, let the left foot lower down, turn your palms forwards, let your arms lower down. Take a moment like we did in the beginning, just checking in with your position. Take a breath. Breathe out. Time to activate the core again. Press your lower back. Curl your pelvis. So hopefully you're getting more and more movement through the spine as we go through this. Holding it at the top and then curling that pubic bone up as you lower down. And the pelvis stays down on the floor. Legs stay apart. You're going to roll them to the right. Then you're going to bring it back to the center. You're going to let the legs roll to the left, keeping those legs apart. And you're going to bring it back. We're going to do one more as you go to the right. Then you bring it back to the center. And then your legs are rolling to the left. Bring it back. Ready for your right leg and left arm. Slides along the floor. And then bring that arm and leg back in. And now it's going to be your left leg and your right arm. Just want to open out the fronts of the hips. Bring it back in. Going to do one more on each side. So that opposite arm, opposite leg sliding along the floor. Bring it back. Keeping that torso still. Opposite arm and leg along the floor. Bring it back. Now this time your left arm lifts. The left hand goes behind the head. The right hand goes on the rib cage. You can see the left elbow out the corner of your eye. So to curl up, let's initiate that by the rib cage, pressing towards the floor. Curl up. We want to look towards the legs. Belly button is in. And then let's lower straight back down. And again, remember that gap between the chin and chest remains the same throughout this whole movement. Holding it there. See if it's feeling a little easier than it did that first time when we did the other side. And again, we've got two more. Rib cage down, draw the navel in, pressing the lower back towards the floor, and then lower back down. And we've got that one more time. Lower back sinks down, stay here. Place the right hand behind the head, slowly lower down. Keep your hands behind the head, press your lower back. We're curling up. Now check, you can see the elbows out the corner of your eyes. Now this time, soon as you begin to lower, as soon as you feel you can, you lift the head. So we're trying to curl the pelvis, the head lifts, the bottom is down. Let's see if we can start the movement with the head up. Press the lower back, curl. So it's if you're rocking forwards and backwards. Low back down, take a breath. As you breathe out, you lower the spine as soon as you can. You're going to lift that head up. We've got two more. Press your lower back. Draw the navel in. Coming up. Head goes down. Then as you lower your spine, when you can, your head is going to lift up. We've got that one more time. So peel up. Now the head stays down. The bottom stays up. Take your hands away from the head. Lift your arms up. Let your arms lower. Curl your pelvis, slowly lower your spine all the way down. Keep the feet shoulder distance. Let them roll to the right side again. So we've mobilized the spine and we've strengthened our abs and our core muscles here. We're going to do this one more over to that right side and then bring it back. And we're going to roll to the left and then bring it back to the center. Now walk your feet and legs together and it's time to roll onto the side. So as you roll onto your side, checking your position. So remember your arm is stretched or your elbows bent, whatever feels best for you. We're going to have the legs bent in front today, but as always, we're checking the alignment. We want to have the ear, the shoulder, the hip in that straight line without rounding forwards. And we're going to first of all just start opening the hips, working into our glute med, a little muscle at the side here. So let's lift the feet and let's lift the knee. But we want to make sure these hips are still stacked so we haven't rolled back on that pelvis. Then we're going to lower back down. Let's go again. We're lifting the knee and we're lifting the feet. And then we're going to lower back down. We're going to do 3 more. This is great for opening our hip joints, for working into our glutes. And then you're going to lower back down. And again, we've got 2 more as you lift up. And then you're going to lower back down. And again, we've got that one more time as you lift up. And then you're going to lower down. Keep the bottom leg on the floor. Stretch your top leg out. So now we've got that line. Ear, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. Now lengthen out that leg. So you're always trying to pull the waist away from the floor. Have your hand on your top hip. Now, we do want this hip to lift up to the shoulder. Want to keep it long. We're going to flex the foot. Now, we're just going to see how high the leg will lift. It's not a big movement, but without the hip lifting. Everyone's got different shape hip joints here. So some have got more space to move in the hips than others. Point, lower down. And again, flex. We want that leg to be moving within the pelvis, within that hip joint. Point. Once you've checked that your hip's not lifting, a hand on the floor. Flex. Now really lengthen as you lift. And then point. Lengthen as you lower back down. Flex. Keep lengthening it, lifting it up. And then point. Let it lower down. We've got one more flex. We're lifting it up, but we're staying here. It's a little catch. We're going to slowly circle that leg. Now again, we're trying to disassociate the leg from the pelvis. We want the pelvis to be still. Want this leg to be rotating within that hip joint. And I probably don't need to tell you where you're feeling it, but we're working the glutes, the legs, the muscles around the hip. Keep lengthening. We've got two more. One more, and then stay there. Lengthen it out, and then we're going to reverse that circle. Slow and controlled. You're lengthening through that heel as you do this. Keep this going, and you've got 4. Keep circling it for 3. Keep circling it for 2, and then for 1. Now leave it there. Point the foot. Now can you lengthen that leg back so you open out the hip? Can you flex it? Bring it back so it's in line with the body. Point. So now we're working this hip flexor, but we're extending it. Flex, and then bring it back in line with the body. Point, and that leg goes back. Pause there, lengthen it, flex it, bring it back in line with the body. We just got 2 more. Point, that leg goes back, you're lengthening it, flex, and it comes back in line. 1 more. Point, it goes back. Now leave it there, stretching it out. Prop yourself up onto your elbow. Let's do an opposition stretch. So now your arm is going to one corner of the room, the leg to the opposite corner. And as you breathe in, you're seeing if you can stretch out in those directions even more. Feel the arm, feel the leg, feel in between those points stretching. And release. Again, breathing in, lengthen and stretch as much as you can. And release. 2 more, breathing in, feel that length. And release. 1 more, breathing in, lengthen out. And we're going to release. You're going to bend your leg, place it on top of the other leg. Interlink the fingers together. Hands are behind the head, ready for some rotation. Your elbow lifts. As it lifts, your head starts to rotate. Now remember, the head is in the hands, but the hands are always supported on the floor. We're trying to keep the legs squeezed together, letting the chin nod a little towards the chest. Stay where you are. Give your body a bit of time in this position. Take a breath. Letting that breath out. Take another breath. Now as you breathe out, the elbow lifts. You can see the elbow, so your head starts to move and you bring it back to that start position. We're going to go again. Lift the elbow and feel that rotation in the spine. And then just stay back where you get to. Take a breath. Letting that breath out. Take another breath. And letting that breath out. And again, your elbows lifting. And you're bringing it back. That's it, good, to that start position. We're going to do 2 more here. So the elbow lifts. And as it lifts, you rotate the spine. And then you hold it here for a moment, breathing into this spinal position, letting that breath out, taking another breath. As you breathe out, lift the elbow, bringing it back to that start position. And we've got that one last time. So the elbow lifts, and as it lifts, visualize your spine lengthening. As it turns, it rotates. And just hold it here for a moment, breathing into this position. Letting that breath out. Stay where you are for 1 more breath. Letting that breath out. And then your elbow's going to come back to that start position. And then leave go of your head, just rolling onto your back for a moment. Have your feet shoulder distance again. Relax your arms and let your legs roll to that right side like you did before. Keep them apart. Bring it back to the center. Now over towards the left side. And bringing it back. And again, we're going over to the right. And then back to the center. And then over towards the left side. Then you're going to come back to the center. Bring the right knee and hold on to the back of that right thigh. Bring the left knee in, hold on to the back of the left thigh. See if you press your lower back and lift. Push into your hands or use your arms on the floor. Basically, we're just rolling up so that we can go around and do all of that on the other side. So now you're lying on your other side. Your legs are bent. Remember, first thing, it's checking your position, your posture. So arms stretched or bent with the ear, the shoulder, the hip are in alignment. Opening out the hip, working into that glute med. We're going to lift the feet, lift the knee. So we want to make sure that these hips are still stacked. We haven't moved the pelvis. Then we're going to lower back down. And again, breathe in as you lift up. And just notice if one hip feels any different to the other. Maybe you've got more movement in one side than the other. And we're trying to create that symmetry in the body, doing Pilates. And again, lift the knee, lift the feet. And then you're going to lower back down. And you've got that one more time as you lift the knee, you lift the feet, you open out the hip. Then you're going to lower back down. Now from here, the leg stretches out. Flex the foot. Now we want this line, ear, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. We're going to have the hand on the hip. And I want you to lengthen your heel. So you almost get the feeling of the waist being pulled away from the floor. Now remember, we want this hip to stay still. We don't want to lift it up. It's the leg that's moving in the hip joint. And it's not a big movement. Point. And then lower it back down. Again, flex. So the pelvis stays still. It's that leg moving in that hip joint. Point. Good. Lower down. Again, now once you've checked that there's no movement in the pelvis, you can leave go or you can keep your hand on there for some feedback. Point and then lower down. And again, flex and you're lengthening. The leg is lifting. Point, lower down. Again, two more. So these are really important muscles to keep us strong, to keep us moving that we're working here. Point, lower down. One more, flex, lift. Now stay here. Keep that length. Now slowly circle that leg. Now again, we want the pelvis to be still. We want this leg to be moving within the pelvis, within that hip joint. With control. 4 more. 3 more. That's it. Good. 2. 1. Now stay there. Unfortunately, we've got to go back the other way now. Slowly. Circle it. Lengthen through the heel. That's it. Good. Strengthen all those muscles around the hips. You've got 4. Keep lengthening for 3. For 2. And 1. Now keep stretching it out. Point the foot. Now your leg is going back. Now we're stretching that hip flexor. And then we're flexing it. Bring the leg back in line. And then we're pointing it. And we're just stretching it back. We're opening that hip. Flex. Bring it back in line. 3 more. Point. Good. Take it back. Bring it back in line with your body. 2 more. The leg goes back. The hip opens out. Then you bring it back. 1 more time. Point. Now the leg goes back. You're going to leave that leg back. And you're stretching it. Prop yourself up onto your elbow. Stretch your arm. Now it's that opposition. The arm to one corner, the leg to the other. And then as you breathe in, you see if you can lengthen your leg more. Lengthen your arm. Imagine you're being pulled in 2 directions. We're getting that stretch, hopefully down the side of the spine and the muscles around the spine as well. Release. Again, breathe in, lengthen and stretch as much as you can. And release it. 2 more, you're lengthening, you're stretching. And then release. 1 more, you're lengthening and stretching. Excellent. Release. You're going to bend that leg, place it on top of the other leg, interlink the fingers together. Still checking we've got that line, ear, shoulder, hip. Now the elbow lifts. As the elbow lifts, you start to turn your head. You're not forcing it, especially on this first one. Just see how far you get round, how it feels, but then stay there. Give your body a little bit time in this spinal position. So take a breath in and letting that breath out. And now your elbow's going to lift. Really visualize your long spine rotating as you bring it back to that start position. So you create length in your spine and then your elbow lifts. And you turn and you rotate. And you just stay back for a moment. Take a breath. Just letting that breath out. And again, take a breath. As you breathe out, your elbow lifts, the spine lengthens. Good, and you bring it back. We've got 2 more to go. And remember, all these spine movements are really important to help us move in all our daily activities. Let's stay back for a moment. Take a breath. Letting that breath out. Another breath. Letting that breath out. Now lift the elbow and then bring it back to that start position. And we've got that one last time. So lifting the elbow, let's turn and find that rotation. And just stay back. And hopefully this last rotation feels a lot better than that first one. But stay where you are. Breathe into this. Don't do anything. Just letting that breath out. And again, take another breath. And letting that breath out. And one more time, take a breath. Now, as you breathe out, we're going to lift the elbow and you're going to bring it back to that start position. You're going to leave go of the head, slide the legs out, rolling onto our front. Get ready for our extension. So have your legs relaxed here. Make sure the front of the pelvis is on the floor, one hand on top of the other. We're going to let the forehead rest down on the hands. And just hold this position for a moment. Take a breath. Remember, this is a really important spinal position to be in, letting that breath out. Let's just slide the shoulders up to the ears just once. So you're shrugging your shoulders up, but it's a downwards part I want you to focus on. So now feel the shoulders slide down your back. Now keep the shoulders down, keep your hands in the floor. Start to lift up. Lift the head and chest. Now we do want that chin poking forward. So think about your chin pressing backwards and your eyeliners maybe just slightly in front of your hands. Holding it there. And then slowly lower back down. And let the forehead rest on the hands. Check that your shoulders are still down and away from the ears as you lift up, breathing in. As you lift up. And then as you breathe out with control, you're going to lower back down. And again, keep this going. So as you do this, there's going to be no movement in the pelvis and there's going to be no movement in the lower back. Remember, we're just targeting our upper back, our thoracic spine. We want to keep the back of the neck long. So think of that chin pressing back. And then we're going to lower back down. And we've got 3 more here. Breathing in as you lift up for 3. And then as you breathe out, slowly lower back down. And again, we've got 2 more here. Breathing in as you curl up. As you breathe out, you're going to lower back down. Now 1 more, breathing in. So notice this is your spinal movement. The next time we're not going to be lifting up as high. So as you lower down, this time slide the hands down the outside of the body, back to the hands on the floor, forehead is on the floor. So now we're strengthening the muscles, but we're not going to lift up as high. Leave the backs of the hands on the floor. Now you might need to squeeze the bottom muscles a little bit here. You might need to pull the belly button in a little bit. We're just going to lift the head and chest, maybe just a couple of inches off the floor, but we'll keep looking down at the floor now. Now we're going to turn the palms inwards so the hands are on the outsides of the legs. Your collarbones are wide. We're going to add some side bends here. Make sure your hips stay on the floor. Slide your right hand down the outside of the right leg. Now just check and make sure the right shoulder hasn't dropped to the floor. Want to have both of your shoulders equal distance away from the floor. Pelvis stays still. Then you slowly bring it back. Now you're going to go over to the left. Now, as you go to the left, same thing, both shoulders equal height. But is that right hip pushed down? I know mine wants to lift up, so really focusing on keeping the pelvis still. Slowly back to the center. We're going to do 3 more. Now, as you go to the right, push the left hip down into the floor. Bring it back. As you go to the left, check that right hip is still pressed into the floor. Bring it back. And again, over towards that right side. And then bring it back to the center. Over to the left. Bringing it back. You're going to open your arms out to the side. Place the hands one on top of the other. Once again, let the forehead rest. Relax the glutes. Feel the pelvis relaxing and just stay in this position. Take a breath. And then letting that breath out. Just holding it here in through the nose. And then you're going to let that breath out. One last time, take a breath. As you breathe out, once again lifting the head away from the hands, but this time sliding the hands in, pushing up, going into a rest position if that feels okay on your body, with your arms stretched or with one hand on top of the other and the forehead on the hands. Do what feels best for you. And we're just going to release all those muscles around the spine for a moment. Take a breath. Letting that breath out. And again, take another breath in. And then you're going to let that breath out. And again, one more as you breathe in. And then you're going to let that breath out. Now from here, I just want you to come up onto your hands and knees. Take a moment, have a quick check of your position. Check. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. We're not letting that head flop down. We want that line, ear, shoulder, hip. Keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Push your hands into the floor as you start to curl that pubic bone. So we want to get that movement through the spine in this position. Just like we did when we did shoulder bridge lying on the floor, but it's a bit more challenging getting the movement here. Curl your pubic bone. Think head to pubic bone to head. Take a breath. Breathe out. Come to neutral. Now try and keep that lower back still. The lower back's not going to arch, but you're looking along the floor in the front of your chest. As if you think of sticking your chest out. Just like when we did swan when we were lying on the floor, just the chest lifts, the lower back hasn't changed. And then release, and then rounding the whole spine again. Look towards your thighs, tighten that belt, breathe into your back. As you breathe out, come to neutral. Try and keep the lower back still, but your eye line goes along the floor, maybe up the wall. Get the collarbones wide, holding it here, and then bring it back. And again, rounding that back again. One more round. Look towards your thighs. Take that breath. Breathe out, come to neutral. Keep the lower back still, but think of the upper back going into that extension. Holding it there. And then release it. Now round that back again. Tucking under, look towards your legs. Now walk your hands to your knees. Slide your hands up the legs. Check your knees are level. Neutral pelvis. Now push the chin back. Remember our line, ear, shoulder, hip. Arms are down the side of the body. You can do this sitting on a chair, by the way, if it's not good on your knees. We're working our deep psoas, that muscle down the side of the spine. Same as we did when we were lying on our front. So as we go to the left, push the right knee into the floor. Or if you're sitting on a chair, push the right foot into the floor. Bring it back. And again, we're going over to the side. And then we're going to bring it back. We're trying to keep this pelvis still. Over to the side. And then we're going to bring it back. We're going to turn the palms. The arms lift up to that V position. Lower them down in front as you tap the little fingers together. Lift the arms up into that V position. Remember, we don't want the shoulders to lift. Open out, lower down. Now go to the side. Now lift the left arm up and rotate the arm. Then stretch in line with the ear. So lengthen your fingertips. The knee presses down. You're breathing into the side. Then you come up. Let it lower. Find that length in the spine first, then over towards the left side. Pause there, then lift the arm, then rotate that arm. and then lengthen. Now, as you lengthen, press the knee down. Think of that opposition, breathing into the side. Breathe out, bring it back up, lower down, just your arms, turn the palms up to that V position. Lower down, tap your little fingers together, lift up, open out and lower. Let's do one more round as you go to the right. Then your left arm lifts, you turn the palm, lengthen. Can you stretch any more? Can you push the knee into the floor anymore? Bring it back, let it lower, feel that length, over to the left. Right arm lifts, turn the palm, lengthen. Arm lengthens, knee presses down, breathe into the side. Come back up, lower down, turn the palms, lift your arms up into that V position. Lower down, little fingers touching. Lift up, open out, lengthen, lower down. I want you to come to standing. I want you to try and use your quads and your glutes. One foot in front, and then you're going to come up. Remember, just listen to me. Try not to twist or bend to see me. Let's look at your posture. Feet parallel, like we did in the beginning. Lift your toes off the floor, spread them out, place them on the floor. Big toes, little toes, heels. As the feet anchor down, crown of the head lengthens in that other direction. As the crown of the head lengthens, the collarbones opening out to the sides of the room. Take a deep breath in. Don't do anything, just let the breath out. Now we're going to roll down, super slow, 10 counts. So breath in. Make sure we're not moving from that lower back, it's coming from the neck. So slowly letting that chin drop to the chest as you begin that roll down for 10, 9. Now let your arms hang in front of your legs and then soften the knees. 8, 7, 6. Curl your pubic bone. 5, 4, 3, 2. Now just stay in that roll down and let your head flop. Release. Feel your facial muscles relaxing. Let your arms hang. Let your shoulders relax. Those knees are still soft or they can be bent. Now while you're down here, can you switch on the core? Can you tighten the belt? Pull your belly button in. Think of those shoulder bridges when we were trying to curl the pelvis. Let's see if we can curl it here as you roll up for 10. Curling under. 9. Belly button in. 8. Let that head hang. 7. Curl the pubic bone. 6. 5. Keep the chin to the chest. 4. 3. 2. Lift the head up. Stay here. See if you can lengthen your spine. One last time. The feet pressing down. Crown of the head lengthening. Deep breath in. Last time for those 10 counts. Start with your neck. Let the drop to the chest for 10. 9. From the neck it moves to the upper back. 8. And as it does, your arms go forward. 7. From the upper back it moves to the mid back. 6. Mid back to lower back. 5. Soften your knees. 4. 3. 2. And just let your head flop down. Feel your facial muscles relax. Let your arms hang. Let your shoulders relax. Don't do anything. Just take a breath. Just letting the breath out. Just let everything hang there. Now activate that core. So tighten the belt. Remember, we're focusing on curling that pubic bone under as we super slowly come up for 10. Curl your pelvis. 9. Draw the belly button in. 8. 7. Keep curling. 6. So it goes from the lower back to the middle of the back to the top of the back, and then your head comes up last of all, and you're lengthening up the crown of the head. And now we're opening out. We're going to turn the palms. I think I've grown so tall, my head's practically off this screen. Lengthen all the way up. Now stretch that right side. Release. Stretch that left side. Release. Opening out. Lower down. You're definitely going to be taller than you were 45 minutes ago, but well done.